Good evening. This is Gene Symes, a veteran, Vietnam. And I have with me a good friend of mine from Austin, Texas, Simon Alvarado. Not a former Army, but I classify him as always being in the Army because we both worked together like we were still in the military, and we got that in our blood. That'll always stay there. He's a veteran, but wounded in Vietnam. And his leadership got him through with the help of others that were there to help and support him. I was in Vietnam for, well, say 65, 66, and then back in 69, but on the USS Valley Forge in 1964, we were supposed to do a rescue mission along the waters of Vietnam. But what I want to get to you is that it's not about me and it's not about Simon. It's about leaders. We have individuals that are running for president, along with name it, by Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump. Here, Vice President Biden, and I'll give him that respect, says that President Trump is a poor leader. Vice President Biden, I think you're totally wrong, and I think that you've been caught up in the atmosphere of your bunker. Your mind is not thinking the same thing as others. You know, you feed people enough information, and as I hope I'm quoting it right, an illusion of truth. You feed that enough, and people's going to believe it. Well, you can't believe what leadership is or deny what leadership really is, Mr. Biden. President Trump didn't control the virus. President Trump doesn't control the riots or the protest march or all this violence that's going on. For you to say that you don't have anything to do with it because you're not the president, well, you do. You don't have enough leadership to admit it. Your leadership as a former vice president, if you really wanted to say and mean it, you would oppose all these issues that's going on, this violence that's going on. You're not a leader. See, that's the only problem. President Trump has asked the governors that he would send in whatever it's needed to take care of whatever has to be done. The governors refuse. You know, we have supervisors in towns, we have mayors, we have governors. I'm just going to put those three pictures on there. When the mayor can't do what he's supposed to be doing because he doesn't have enough support, then he goes up to the governor, and the governor should take that stance, okay? But when Governor Cuomo was asked, do you want help? No. When the other governors throughout the other states, Seattle, all them states, Oregon, Chicago, no. See, President Trump is a true leader, Vice President Biden. That's what a leader is all about. It's not waiting for somebody else to do your job while you have that authority. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had my fire team. I was in charge of my fire team. And I did what I had to do. We're good men on there. We all worked as one. And our squad, and our platoon, and our company. If we got caught in a firefight, immediately we pulled into action. We didn't stop and say, well, we can't do this because I got to call my squad leader. It doesn't work like that. Vice President Biden, you're neither a team leader or a squad leader. In your time, maybe you did good. But you know, to brag about how many push-ups you can do, or take him out, beat his ass behind the schoolhouse or whatever, that talk doesn't mean nothing. Well, what means something is the leadership that President Trump has, and you don't. Nancy Pelosi doesn't have that leadership. Maxine Waters. All these individuals that were running for president Don't have that type of leadership. Cory Booker doesn't even come one ounce with leadership. Everybody's been staying behind while these riots have been going on for a period that is unbelievable since March, okay? With the virus, and then the issue with Russia, and then the issue with the shootings. You know, all lives matter, Biden. Why can't you say that? I feel bad that our own blood, our own red blood is being spilled because we're so divided. Why don't you take the leadership and stand for yourself instead of listening to your squad? You don't have it because you can't do it. President Trump has done a great job, and he'll continue doing a great job. And it's up to us, as far as the men and women, that can see through all this bunk that's going on, this illusion of truth that is going on, to step up to the plate and say, hey, as Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, we can see that our own party has failed us. It has. Maxine Waters calls for everybody to attack those that are Republicans. Look what happened to Carson Tucker, breaking his door down, intimidating the Supreme Court. Those are all left Democrats, left-wing Democrats. And not all Democrats are bad. They're not a bunch of killers. They're not a bunch of rebel risers. They stand for what they believe. But you're making everybody believe that they're all just like you and Maxine Waters. I point to Maxine Waters because she has a voice there that people are listening to. And I can't believe that some of my own relatives can even think that she's right. You know, if I knew that the Democratic Party had something going for them, I wouldn't be saying this. But I know that my president that I elected, he might not be right all the time in his words or use the phrase that you want him to use. But you know what? He has stepped up to the plate beyond anybody's imagination. And I'm proud that he's my president. I'm proud that I can say that. But like a football team, no matter how bad it is, you're going to go for that bad one, or you're going to go for that good one, because that's the way it is. Stop and think about it. You don't have to do that. It's not a team here. We're all playing the same game as one, but you got to have leaders. Simon, give me your thoughts on that, please.
You know what? First of all, Gene, you have followers and you have leaders, right? People that want to be leaders just don't have what it takes to be a leader. All right. So they put on this facade that they can lead. Okay. And a good example, like you mentioned, Pelosi and those other people, you know, I mean, to me, they're not leaders. Okay. A leader takes responsibility for his action and the team's action and everybody's action. The team leaders responsible for the whole for everything that happens. And like you're saying, Trump has he's taken the role of a leader, and a leader does what he thinks is necessary to encourage the people that support him, to encourage the country. So when he says something, he says it with the intention of, you know what, the world may be coming to an end tomorrow, but he's gonna say, you know what, tomorrow's another day. Let's see what tomorrow's tomorrow comes, you know. But again, you don't tell the people that they're going to die tomorrow. I'm saying you try to give a hopeful preview of something that may or may not happen or may happen. But the thing, you don't scare people half to death. Okay. And again, you have followers and you have leaders. Mostly you have more followers than leaders. Okay. Like you're saying, the Democratic Party. Okay. You have good Democrats. You have bad Democrats. You have Democrats that are they don't believe in abortions. You have Democrats that believe in the Second Amendment. Okay. But the thing is, it's like they tend to follow more the Piper. They don't listen to to these individuals, okay, all they do is just follow, and they don't listen. Okay, and that's a problem with the Democratic Party, and I think somewhere along the way things have to change. People like leaders need to be responsible. Every person has a responsibility for themselves. Okay, if they have a family, then they're responsible for their family. Okay, and like you're saying, a team leader goes out. His job, he's got a mission, right? Whatever the mission might be, is your job as a team leader to make sure several things happen. One, that you accomplish the mission, and two, that you come back with all your men. Okay. Now, and again, it depends on how fierce the fighting is, but for the most part, every person, like you're saying, every person in that team are going to pull together. And right now, as a country, we're not pulling together because you have the left pulling a lot more than the right. And I only wish that the right had more tenacity, okay, and standing up for things that they believe in, okay. They can't say anything because they're afraid that the left is going to criticize them for saying something that doesn't appease people. Okay. But the thing is, like you said, a leader stands up, and I think people themselves need to stand up and say, you know what, I don't believe in this thing. I believe that, like you're saying, all lives matter, not just one. Okay. So because when you tell yourself that Black Lives Matters, all you've done is you're believing in a system of racism, because racism has to do with one race being better than the other race. And what the Democrats have done, they have bought into this theme, okay, and they got themselves locked into something they can't get out of, because if they say this is why Biden doesn't criticize the BLM or anybody or the writers and whatever. They're not going to they're not going to step up and say something. Well, you know what, that is wrong, because as soon as they say that, they're afraid that they're going to lose the vote. They're going to lose credibility, and that's what's happening, Gene. And look at the mayor up in Portland. He tried to be a good guy and try to be with the with the middle of the riders. What happened to him?
That's true.
But you see, when you're, I mean, a snake was created for one thing. Okay, and those snakes, there aren't that many friendly snakes, but the ones that are gonna kill you are the ones that got venom, And unfortunately, you have people that have bad intentions. And right now, I think someone said it, and I believe in this, is that what's going on right now in this country, to me, in my views, is a subversion. Okay, the people with money are funding all these writers or all these commotion in order so they can undermine the country's integrity. Okay, and that's what's happening. And if people need to stand up and say, you know what, I'm not gonna take that more. Like you're saying, the delusion of truth or is delusion of fact, same thing, is for people that don't know, if you tell a lie long enough, at some point it's going to become truth. And that's the concept that the Democrats use. And it's used by every party, okay? But you know who used it first? The Nazis. The Nazis told the German people the Jews are taking your jobs away. So they instigated, they rounded up all the German people, and then they started killing Jews. All because of that one lie that the Jews were taking the jobs away from the Germans. I mean, and that's a concept, that's a theory. And again, if you tell a lie long enough, at some point, people are going to believe it. Okay, and look at the media. The media's done a good example. It's a good example of what's going on with these lies. They report. The media's job is to report, not to make up the stories, but to rather report the story. And they're making it up as they go along, and they add to it or they take off, but they never directly tell people exactly what's going on. Because if they told the truth, then no one would watch them. Nobody would listen to them. But it's all about money, the almighty dollar. And unfortunately, that's what it is.
Simon, you told a piece right there, so true. My wife itself, she looks at the news and she wonders, is this the words that are really coming out of their mouth? And I say, hey, hon, it is. She said, well, there's so much fake news out there. I don't know if they're really telling the truth. And you're absolutely right. You tell a lie long enough, it's going to be believed. Wasn't Hitler a Jew?
Well, I think in the beginning we were all Jews.
No, but wasn't he a Jew?
You know, Gina, I'm not sure. I'm not for sure. I can't
That's what
say
I've
yes.
heard. If I'm mistaken, I apologize for that.
And again, I'm not going to say yes because I don't know.
Right,
But,
but it's what I've heard. But
okay.
let me take this so I can give right back to you because I know where you're going to come from. You know, it's like New York. New York told by the president, look, what do you need? Let me help you. Let me do this for you. Let me do this. Let me help you settle this. What's going on here? Absolutely not. But the governor had enough gumption to say it's all about love. It's not all about love because we can't do this all about love. You know, said, you know, my kids, I don't expect you to correct my kids. You come to me and say, hey, Gene, your kids are doing this. I'll correct them. If I can't correct them because it's beyond my control, I have to go to somewhere else. But until that is, I'm controlling my kids. And that's the same thing with the governor of New York, Chicago, California, Seattle, Washington, Oregon, and all these other places that the governors refuse any help. Oh, Biden, it's not the president. Wake up. It's you. You have an excuse. I'm not the president. You don't have to be. I don't have to be the president to protect my neighborhood. Okay? I don't have to be a supervisor to protect my neighborhood. Simon and I have been doing this for a good while, and we step into a lot of things that we don't call for our leaders. But Simon does his research, I break down the doors, and we work together as one. But we don't break down the doors by yelling and burning and killing and doing all. We do it with a voice. Schumer, it's senseless to say anything because you've been hidden too by all these riots. You haven't said nothing against these riots that I know of, unless you said it on CNN. You know, Pelosi, you're missing the boat. You remind me of a kid that when the father and mother's not looking, they're going to go in the cookie jar. You go like this, really slow. You get that?
You're walking on eggshells.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
You're like a mariposa, a butterfly,
Yeah.
you know? But beyond all, our president is doing the job. The Democrats and Republicans and independents, look at it real close. Look where the voices of violence is coming from that has taught our kids and everybody else to go for it. It's come from the Democratic politicians. We've got it. We've got a video on all of them. You know, the football players, I don't know what you're doing, but you've destroyed the patriotic feeling of that game to all of us. Simon?
You know, Gene, last night I'm watching one of the well, my son-in-law was watching, so I was just being curious and I'm watching with him, right? But one of the things that I noticed on their jerseys, on their left side of their jerseys, it had the word wish. Okay, and I asked him, isn't that the Chinese website? He said, yeah. These are American basketball players that they are promoting the Wish product. They're sponsors. They get paid by the Chinese through that company Wish. And I'm asking myself, how can this guy? And do you know if you was being sponsored in any way, to promote their products or their business, right? And are you going to say anything bad against them? See, so I mean, you had, and then you had I think the one that was more to me was more offensive was a Wish, because that is a Chinese company. The other one was Western Union. It's a W on the shirt. But yeah, I mean, these were Chinese. These are American basketball players, okay, and they were being endorsed or sponsored, whatever you want to call it, with their logo, Wish. See, and again, so and that's what's happening. See, I think we've gone from, but let's go back to what you're saying about all these governors, okay, in the states, Democratic states, okay. And I think when you are elected in a official capacity, you are taking an oath to uphold, the Constitution, not only the U.S. Constitution, but the Constitution that the states may have. And number one job of a leader, a governor or mayor, whatever, is to protect its citizens. If you don't protect your citizen, you're not being a good leader. A good leader doesn't look at, ooh, am I doing right or am I doing wrong? A good leader is responsible for all the people, not a handful of people. Okay, and what's happening now, you have, for a good example, look at the BLM. Where does the money come from? All these corporations, all this, they're getting millions of dollars. Okay, but yet, I mean, but yet, look at all the violence on TV with black on black, murder on murder, black on black, and now it's, well, you're not black enough, or if you're not, if you're a Democrat, you're not a, if you're not black or whatever. I'm saying, I think Biden said that. He said, "Oh man, if you don't vote Democrat, you're not black." I think that's what he said.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
a good leader doesn't divide, okay? And I don't think Trump has been called a lot of stuff, okay? And I can tell you for one thing, if he said something that I thought was offensive, I would be the first one to speak up, okay? But the thing he's got the media, he's got his own party, he's got the Democrat Party, he's got Congress, he's got everybody going against him. But look at what he's done, even with all that stress, okay? Look at what he's done.
Yeah, he hasn't hidden in a bunker, has he?
No, he doesn't hide in bunkers, you know. The only people I know that live in bunkers are some of the Vietnam vets. And I think Biden's been too. You know, that's another thing. The last I heard that they were knocking President Trump because he had a deferment. So did Biden. Biden didn't serve. You know, so why is that the attack being done on one man and not the other person?
Well, hey, we look at Clinton. Can we look at President Obama? Can we look at a lot of presidents? But I tell you what, Franklin D. Roosevelt and I guess Truman, I believe so, if I might be wrong,
Yeah.
would have stood for this, what is going on in the states, what's going on in each state. If you look at what history is all about and what they have said about demonstrating with violence.
Yeah, and
Stand for
they
this.
contradict themselves.
Yeah, but what they want to do is lock President Trump's hands up, put handcuffs on so he can't move. He's got all the right to do the best that he can. But you know what? He has pulled the brakes on that because the governors don't want any help. And yet they persecute him for that. They persecute him because of the virus. He killed these many. How did he kill them? Well, Biden, you killed a lot of the individual with this virus. Maxine Waters, you killed a lot of people. Schumer, you have. Nancy Pelosi, you have. Because you keep your mouth shut and you put the blame on somebody else when you know exactly what we got to do. You know, China's did it. You do what you have to do to stop them and cut their legs off.
Remember what I told you about?
I don't mean cut the legs off with violence. Cut the legs off from what the economics of what they want from the United States.
No, look again. Remember, look at the NBA. You know, they're not going to say anything bad because they're afraid that they're going to lose that money.
Yeah.
So you know what? Whether I mean, for us, Gene, you know, we're just pawns in this game board, okay? And this country has been sold to foreign countries. It's been sold for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
We no longer own. I think at this point we don't own our country anymore because we owe so much money. Okay, and look at and I talked about this some time back. Is that all these people that were crossing the border? Why are they crossing the border? What were they looking for?
Hey, they got their cell phones. They look nice and healthy, some of them.
Well, the thing is that they were looking for a better life. Some were running away from poverty. Some were from persecution. You know what I'm saying? So they came, or they were leaving socialists behind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, these people are living in a country. Here we have this country turned into something that they never want, that they're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
yet they come in to not to try and become citizens, but to be more disruptive.
Yeah, they become part of the problem. Now,
Yeah.
back in the night when John F. Kennedy, and we know John because no, he was the one that put us in Vietnam. And you know why he put us in Vietnam? because John F. Kennedy felt that the only way to combat communism was to take the war to them.
Mm-hmm.
So we found ourselves where? Now, keep in mind, this is a Democrat saying that we don't want communism in this country. We
Yep.
don't want socialism in this country. So what's happening now? What has changed in the last 60 years, Gene? That
Well, it's become an implosion because, as you know and I know, guerrilla warfare, you can't beat them in one way. You beat them with their own.
you find other ways.
That means you get into their country, and that's what they've been doing. And
And that's so true. But remember,
yeah,
the Democrats were against communism through Kennedy back in the 60s. And now here we are, 2020. Okay. And the Democrat, the same people that wanted to fight communists outside of the country, now they want to bring now they welcome communism into our country. An extreme opposite, Gene. One day they don't want communism, then they're embracing communism.
yeah. And our political leaders are not resisting this type of conventional or guerrilla warfare, or however you want to call this, the invasion into our own country. As this wall here shows, Max Cleveland, triple amputee, Vietnam, senator from Georgia, lost his leg. He still leads, at least with his mind and heart, okay? And we have all these other individuals back here. You're on this wall too. That we've done as much as we can to fight for the rights of all and our veterans. This picture right here is Canandaigua, where I said, politicians like to pin a medal on a veteran, but then they forget you. Politicians like to help you in your neighborhood, but they forget you. Politicians like to help you in your city, but then they forget you. Politicians like to claim that they're the leaders of the state itself, the governors, but then they forget you, because that's what they've done with the destruction that's happening to all of these states. Simon, we're going to have to cut this a little short here, but I want to get your last words before we round this up. And I hope that if you're listening to this part towards the end here, that you can understand, we need you to vote the right way. Okay.
You know what, Gene?
Somebody else's example, vote
But
way.
I mean, and again, to me, I want to believe that the American people are smart enough to see what's going on. Okay, I mean, I really believe that the American people are smart enough to see through all this smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing that I would expect for people to do is to be smart enough. Okay. To be smart enough. Okay. And every person has the capability of leading, but they choose to be followers instead of leaders because they don't want to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I, we don't have a dog in this fight, but we do because we want to help other veterans. We want to improve the lives of the country.
Our families and all that is involved. We're talking as veterans, people. Okay.
Stand up and do the right thing. Stand up and don't be afraid to say, you know what, I don't agree with you. I don't agree that we should be socialists or communists or whatever. Stand up and say, look, I don't believe that. That's what a leader does.
What kind of country do we have that you can do whatever you want, be whoever you want to be, but do it the right way? That's all we say. Look at what the illusion of truth or the illusion of facts is happening. They're telling you lies, 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 lies. And you say, well, Simons, Gene, you're saying the same thing you're saying. No, I'm saying, look at what's there in the front. Look at what's happening. Look who is not doing what they have to do to keep you safe. Policemen do matter. Fire departments do matter. Babies do matter. Family members do matter. My grandchildren, your grandchildren do matter. It's about what is, You open a body, the heart looks like everybody else's. The vein comes out with blood, the same color. The only thing is that some of us have darker skin. I have dark skin. I know where I come from. but we all matter and we can work together, get through this. With this constantly destruction of everything and the politicians sitting back and then pointing the fingers to the President of the United States so all can say, well, you see, this is what he's doing wrong. Well, you know what? You haven't said anything that he's done right because you don't want to. You don't want to support someone that's gonna keep doing what he's doing, giving us the best that he's got, and he hasn't got what you require. And go to Washington. We do it. You say, well, nobody listens to us. You know what? We say the same thing too, but we make our voices heard. Simon and I are on the phone every week, every other day with somebody from Washington, D.C. Okay? Let's stop it. Let's support the president. Let's make the president who's supposed to be. Let him appoint the next judge to the Supreme Court. You know, God bless the lady that was on there. She'd done a great job. She was divided to do good, not to be distasteful or evil. Okay? She lived a long life, 27 years of judging. That's a lot of time.
She was 87.
3 months, look at the destruction that's being done. The president has a right to appoint. Biden says the presidents are, the people vote for the president. That's right. The president appoints justice.
Mm.
It didn't say wait until after or whatever. It means that he has the right to appoint that individual at this precise time. Okay? That's the way it is.
And that's leadership. Leading
That's leadership.
by what needs to be done without having to worry about any type of criticism for what he does. Because you know they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I think people need to stop doing that. Stop using race and stop using politics to divide this country. And that's what they've done. They have divided. And more, again, I blame the liberals because that's the only thing they have. When they can't come up with facts, you know what they do? They lie.
Look what they did with Kavanaugh thing. Look how they literally just pounded those doors and shouted their voices like individuals that were uneducated.
They were mad at him. These were political, they were professional people doing that.
The politicians allowed that by giving in that authority of do what you can to disrupt it. But Simon, we're about
All right, Gene.
up. Thank you for coming across. I hope you had a great day.
All right, Gene. Thank you. You too.
All right, my brother. Thank you so much for listening. And
All right, Gene.
it's about all of us. It's not
about all of us.
not divided.
It's not about one, it's about all of us.
About all of it. God bless them. God bless the United States of America, and God bless our president and vice president and those that are doing the job. Thank you.
You got it, Gene.